Yesterday, I worked with a guy. He said, dude, I wish my dad could look like you. I said, how old's your dad? He said, 48. I'm like, you have a 48-year-old dad, bro? I've been doing this that long.
I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and fitness and being in the trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition. I'm gonna set you straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for you guys. Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan, and I'll see you in the Titan crew where I will fine tune any difficulties that you're having. All right, welcome to the Mike O'Hearn Show here on Generation Iron, and I have back my boy Clark Bartram, aka Batman, the real Batman. And today I'd like to talk to him because I see he's really diving deep, and he has been for the last, I'd like to say, year on blood work, and especially I guess you would say the blood work of somebody that is consistently living a healthy lifestyle and trying to take care of themselves, and maybe using nutrition as best as possible to make sure your blood markers are on point. Is that somewhat correct?
It's completely accurate. Absolutely.
How long has it been since you've really dived into your blood work?
So I've been doing blood work for a long time personally, but because I coach men over 50 and they're all wanting abs, I'm trying to divert their attention from getting abs to being healthy. And the only way we can determine health...
because those don't go together. No, just because you have healthy blood work doesn't mean
how many do we
you
know?
Got abs,
yeah.
right?
How many do we know?
We know so many that have abs and they got terrible blood work.
Yeah, and these guys don't want to look at that, right? So if I can hook them with the abs and then get them to health, I've done my job. You've done your job. That's what we're here to do, is really help men who are aging. And like I was just talking to Jeff, none of us are getting out of this thing alive, right? And we might as well have quality of life while we're here on this earth. And looking a way is nice. I love looking good, but I want to be healthy. And blood work, honestly, you know, without divulging too much of what's going on in my life right now, blood work is vital. It's absolutely vital. And I want guys to understand that you could look a certain way and still be diagnosed with something nefarious, something that is not necessarily what you wanted to hear.
I'm glad you said that. Regardless of how you look, you could look like $1 million, and maybe your blood markers are even healthy, but it doesn't mean, like you said, that you're still getting out of this alive, but it is the optimal living. And ironically, I have a couple one-on-one clients that I work with, really, really precise, and they were at that age where things start happening, and we at least caught it early enough to where they're both healthy now. But again, it's an amazing thing to see somebody not comprehend that. And I know for a youngster, it's hard to comprehend that one day something may happen. But when you get to the 40s and 50s and 60s, you start thinking about the long look at life.
As you should.
Yeah.
As you should, because what we want is quality of life. And you and I both know a lot of people who are ripped that aren't, like you said earlier, the healthiest people, even emotionally for that matter. So looking at your blood work frequently, I'm learning a lot about blood work behind the scenes because I'm now working with a lab in San Diego who the guy, Bart, said, Clark, this is your lab. You can do what you want. So I'm around these multi-million-dollar machines, and blood... The science of looking at blood is not as accurate as we would want it to be. And as a consumer, that's a hard thing to understand because let's take testosterone, for example. We could send a tube of blood in to have tested for testosterone. You test it 3 times, back to back to back on the same machine with the same calibration, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, but you will get 3 completely different results back on that blood work. So what does that mean? It means it's, you know, an inaccurate science at this point, even with the great technology that we have. But it doesn't mean that you still shouldn't look at these things, because there are averages that you could look at, And it's not necessarily plus or minus an elephant like a body fat test might be for some people, but it certainly isn't an exact representation of what is going on in your body. And that really comes back to how you feel, right? How do you feel right now? If you're feeling a little bit weird, then go in and look, and then you will get some pointers, at least in a direction. If your cholesterol levels are up, or if TSH or something is not necessarily in line, at least there's a pointing in a direction of what you should start doing. Like your liver enzymes, for example, if they're elevated because you drink, your practitioner, whether it's a doctor or one of these concierge doctors that a lot of people are working with, like you, where they come to you, they can say, hey, listen, do you drink? Maybe you should cut back on drinking, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great direction to move in life. But anyway, yeah, man, so many men that I've talked to, I've asked them, when was the last time you had your blood done? They're like, oh, dude, it's been years. I don't got time for that. Well, you need to have time for that. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, and what I told you about is I want to take that time excuse out of the equation.
If you are confused about training, do not worry. That's what the Titan training plan is for. For you guys to subscribe to this plan, you also get the additional coaching from me in the Titan private group. Get in there today, and I cannot wait to start working with you and making your dreams come true. Let's get back to the show. I like that you went to a laboratory and you're really teaming up with somebody. I love the study of things, and especially the body. It's an amazing thing. And finding just little details about blood markers and blood work and where it should be and what's healthy. And then I find out, like you were saying, it's the best we have for right now, and it's not precise maybe. I never heard that, yeah. which is wild. But it still gives you a good range for you to understand what's going on. So I'll continue to learn about this stuff and continue to dive deeper and deeper. Is there blood markers right now that you've seen that you're trying to get in control of that you can speak about? I know cholesterol is a huge thing for most people.
Yeah. So I came up with what I call the Bartram 5. Every man should know this. You should know. You should be able to walk into your doctor and tell him what your HDL LDL ratio is, because that's really what's important, is the ratio, not the total cholesterol. Because you could have a high total cholesterol and your HDLs, the good fats, be in good proportion, right? So if you look at a number like 202, mine for example, it might not look good on a chart, but when you look at the HDL in comparison to the LDL, it's a good ratio. You should know that. You should know your PSA, which is a huge one. You should know your BMI, even though BMI is an outdated kind of thing that doesn't really apply to me and you and fit people. If you measure your waist with a tape, not relying on what your jeans that you bought at Nordstrom that are lying, you're not a 32. Put a tape measure around your waist. I promise you it'll say 36. So if your waist is not close to what it was in high school, there's a problem there, right? And you should be aware of that. The other thing is, how do you feel, right? So if you walk into your doctor and say, hey, I feel great, I have a lot of energy, or I'm a little lethargic, my mind is foggy. And then the final one, I completely am forgetting what it was, but I have these 5 markers. I'm saying you should know them and I'm forgetting them, but it's you need to be in control of your health, and knowing these basic things is super important, man. It really is. And PSA is a big one, right? And that's the area in my life that I'm focusing in on, because the numbers are not where you would want them to be, you know? So that's what I'm dealing with right now.
You're a healthy eater, and you've been able to retain, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been able to retain a large amount of muscle on a deficit of a calorie intake. Am I right to say that you're, because I've known you, again, I've known this man before you kids were born, and you've never been a big eater in the sense of, you've never been a big eater.
No.
Even, and I mean that in a healthy way. I'm a big eater. I get my meals every 2 hours. Yeah. But I've seen you go 4 or 5 hours without a meal. Then you have a small little chicken breast and some vegetables, and then you're good again for another. Is that deficit, it's an amazing thing, because I always speak about, I want you to recover and recover, but you recovered off of a deficit and retained a large amount of muscle closing in on 60. We are both closing in on 60, and we're still, especially you, you look like a superhero. And is there something about the blood markers that kind of tells you why you're being able to retain that kind of muscle with a deficit of a diet? Because that's not normal.
Yeah. I think what I've noticed, and not necessarily because of the blood, is that my body's adapted. You know, our human bodies are the most adaptive organism on the known universe. So it's adapted to that lifestyle where you have adapted to every 2 hours. I was talking about you the other day. I said, I've never seen this guy miss a meal. Never. Not once in my entire life that I've known him. And you've adapted to that, and I've adapted to the opposite. My son asked me yesterday as we were walking on the beach, and I'm getting all of this attention, and I love that my son sees me getting attention and how I treat people. And he said, how long do you think you can maintain your physique the way it is? I said, well, at least until I'm 70. I don't see any reason why I can't be 70 years old, because we have evidence of that being possible in Robbie Robinson. We see it. So it's not like it's some mythical thing like Ray Kurzweiler, who says, yeah, you can live indefinitely or you can live to your 200. We've not yet seen that. But we've seen Robbie Robinson with his shirt off. All I need to see is one dude. And I've seen him. I've been around him. I've been in proximity to this guy. So if Robbie Robinson can do it, Clark Bartram can do it, Mike O'Hearn can do it, Joe Smith can do it, Sally Jane can do it. Anyone can do it, but it really comes down to lifestyle. So lifestyle trumps everything. Lifestyle trumps drugs, lifestyle trumps all of it. Right? And that's what most people are lacking, is the lifestyle that is consistent to give them the result. That's why I get trolled all the time. That's why you get trolled all the time, because all they're seeing is 60 seconds of a body online, and they hear this guy's 60. Instantly, they resort to what they think it is, but they haven't seen our lives for the decades. Yesterday, I worked with a guy. He said, dude, I wish my dad could look like you. I said, how old's your dad? He said, 48. I'm like, you have a 48-year-old dad, bro? I've been doing this that long.
Yeah.
This is what people don't see. They didn't see me in that YMCA with Henry McGee at 14 years old.
They do see it. They ignore it.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, they
It's
want
hard
to.
for me. It's like I can see a husky anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's because my eyes are prone to
Reticular
I think-
activating system.
Yeah, so I think of huskies, and I'll see a husky walking, and I'll be on a highway going, honey, husky. And the reason why I say that is because yesterday, and we'll get you out of here. I know you're in a rush. The other day, I saw this 82-year-old woman deadlift 205 pounds. And
It's more than me.
it was beautiful to watch. I noticed that where there was Discovery page, you see all these jacked guys and girls, and it's like, that's
what
so
stuck out.
irrelevant to what I want to see compared to the 82-year-old deadlifting 200 pounds, because it says, again, feasible. That's a woman at 82 doing a 200-pound deadlift. Most guys here can't deadlift 200 pounds.
Yeah, and
So-
that's an anomaly. That's out of the ordinary.
It's
in that
feasible,
page,
though.
Yeah,
It's feasible.
right.
We got the 91-year-old bodybuilder guy in the Guinness World Record now, 91 years old.
Yeah.
And
Jack,
full
he
abs, and
he came on my thing yesterday.
and he's a sweet man. I've known him for 30 years.
Wow.
You know, I guess you got to think about that. I've known him for 33 years. So I met him when he was closing in on 60. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, kid, you're still doing this.
Yeah.
So we do see the little ones, and I think that you are one of those because of the fact that you do live in a deficit calorie intake, but you take in enough protein where you're not just maintaining, but you're creating this physique. So again, the study says you need to take this much in. Well, you know, after a good 20 years of lifting, maybe that's not so true.
No.
So
I
we're
got
still
my
learning,
protein.
we're still doing it, but you're a representation to what I think health and fitness and a healthy lifestyle is. And again, no matter how pretty that car is, if that engine isn't working well too, and even if the engine's working well, there's still going to be things, and that's what I think most people miss. If I look good and my blood markers are good, then everything's okay. Well, I mean, you're still going to hit hiccups, and that's why you should appreciate the life you got and live it.
Amen to that.
100%.
Amen to that.
And you know,
That's why I drive 2 hours to come here. That's why I do what I do. I'll go anywhere, anytime to share this message and spread this message. That's our calling and our purpose, and that's what we need to do, even in the midst of doubt and all of the things that we face. right? Because you're the gladiator in the arena doing what is meant to be done, and with that comes some of the impacts that
we don't listen to the crowd.
Yeah,
unless you're going to get into the arena. I don't give a. Your opinion does not matter. That's not life. If you're not in the arena, your opinion does not matter.
Exactly.
All right, so that is Clark Bartram here on the Mike O'Hearn Show here on Generation Iron. Thank you guys so much. Again, go follow this guy. Consistent work ethic, nutrition ethic, and again, ups and downs in life. But this man always fights to come out on top, and that's what's keeping him here into today's world for you guys to go follow and see. Again, let me know who you want me to talk to next week. Thanks again for hanging out,
me,
guys.
I'll be back.
Get out of here. We'll talk soon.